Okay, we'll keep this. We're on the play against a Kihira here. It's just a more expensive Heartless Summoning. Well, it is a little bit more than that, right? It's like, you know, and it's actually very different. This card is very different from Heartless Summoning because instead of giving your creatures -1, it destroys your creatures. And it gives you a 2/2 zombie instead, which is very different from Heartless Summoning. And the card is an extra mana, and you can't play multiples of it, and it's triple black. Luxor makes a Helia creature, so you copy itself. So subsequent copies are artifacts, so they can target themselves. So what do you do with infinite copies of Saheeli? A little bit flooded here. Yakers. You have to alter the Brood, so it's a 3-card combo. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do it. I'm just kind of loosely aware the combo exists. Okay, let's grab Emeria's Call. It does seem like my opponent has a counter spell here. So I think I'm passing. I don't think I'm playing. Well, no, so I should play Ornithopter. I wanted a 0-power creature. And so it's a bit weird if I put a counter on this. But they're not going to counter this Ornithopter, and if they go to Fairy Bounce Cage, I really want a 1-power creature. I used to run the combo. The better one is actually alter the Brood as a Saga target plus 2 Fildars or Fildar Glasspool Mimic. Yeah, we used to do Fildar Glasspool Mimic back in the day. Would also make your Soul Herder infinitely big, which is, you know, back when we were a society. Okay, interesting. We get to play a land that doesn't deal us a damage every time we tap it this turn also. My audio is bugged. Anybody else experiencing bad audio here? I'll scoop to a verdict. I'll have to run into blue-white immediately with this deck. Get to bring our flares in, though. We go down an Opal, down a Memnite, down a Glidecar, down an Emrakul. No worries, Miguel. Yeah, we haven't played the Luris Cube deck. I don't know if we're going to play it on stream or not. Kind of back to modern. Rob said, Otis, the 17 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Don't think I can mulligan this hand. Do you have this deck in mind for if Breach was a ban? We're just playing a lot of Mox Opal decks. I was kind of thinking that there would be more than just Breach ban today. And if there was just Breach ban, we would just kind of circle back to our Opal decks. I probably should have worked on Kethis overnight, though. The snare again. Okay, we got an Emrakul. So it'd be kind of interesting if my opponent Prismatic Endings my Cage. Like, I could protect it with the Flare, but then I just and I would have to top deck Ajani to cast Emrakul next turn. Is Kethis just better than Jeskai Ascendancy? I think so. Like, you don't need, you're not affected by summoning sickness when you're Kethising. Also, Kethis, like, that for Mox Opal, Jeskai Ascendancy, like, you're really in on Emry. I guess you can play Rona too. We could try both. I guess you can also play Fate Stitcher. We can look at it again. Why don't you try? I'm open to trying Jeskai Ascendancy. There's only so many hours in the day. We were thinking about it a little bit last week too. Rona Cauldron combo, maybe, yeah. I imagine the shell will be kind of similar to Kethis. Yeah, we could go back to Fate Stitcher Unctus. No, that was a deck. All right, we've made it to our second main phase, or their second main phase. Alright, does Memnite resolve? Can Jeskai, Ascendancy, and Cathos be played together? It seems unlikely. You said you might try Cathos and Ornithopter combo. I'm pretty sure you're gaslighting me. I don't think I ever said that. I feel pretty confident I never said that. We are going to probably start with Cathos tomorrow. Fastest blue-white player here. See if their pace of play increases. But it sure is doing a lot of thinking for someone who's not casting any freaking spells. Is the Salted Dragon that goes infinite with Frog and Double Chase Daredevil a reasonable Mox Opal deck? I mean, there's already an enchantment that does something pretty similar. But maybe. It's not a very good 3-card combo, you know. But not the worst. Right. I mean, it doesn't exactly seem like their pace of play is increased. Was opponent ghosting a league? Well, it's just sometimes when a player takes like a minute for every decision. I like to put up the hand hider, and sometimes when that happens, they start playing a lot faster. You know, so I was just seeing if that happened there. It does kind of seem like my opponent's playing to cast Wrath X=2 with Counterspell up. Guess not. Kind of hard for them to counter this flare. Have a march in response. Go after my cage. Goodbye, Emrakul. 4 cards in their hand over there. If we can draw a creature, we can hit them down to 2 life. Pretty flooded so far. No counter means wasn't ghosting. Maybe. I certainly hope not. So we're probably not getting Sweeper next turn. Glad I'm not drawing as Horizon land now. They reveal a Narset off their Narset. They're going to go land Days Undoing. There's a land. They're down to 6. They do go land Days Undoing. We drew a Flare of Fortitude, which is pretty interesting. Can I draw a creature? We can draw a creature. So we can put a counter with the Warden tapping 1, 2, 3. And then we can get another counter, 2 more counters with the Guide of Souls. Which is not going to be quite lethal. When I cast the other Warden there, I just cast the card I drew for turn. I don't know what exactly what line we're suggesting here. I'm gonna put my opponent to 1 though. If you meant under the Windbrisk Heights, you have to attack with 3 creatures to Windbrisk Heights. Last turn you could have cast Warden Heights. You have to attack with 3 creatures. 1, not quite 0. They reveal another Narset. Best case scenario, that's what they're casting. Okay, best case scenario. Was one of them tapped to Warden activation? I might miss that. I just saw 3 tapped creatures. Yeah, we did an attack with 3 creatures. We tapped Summoning Sick 1 to Warden. Warden was also Summoning Sick that turn. I think I has a Verdict here, Arathis, guys. It'll feel pretty bad. We do have 3 lethal attackers, though, so if they don't find a sweeper here, it's going to be pretty tough for them to stabilize. They reveal Orum's Chance, which does stabilize them here. And then they also Prismatic Ending my Warden. They find a Prismatic Ending. So we're probably getting Solituded here, right? Spike, why do you think nothing was unbanned? It just seems to be the conclusion of the the unbanned conversation they had at Wizards, you know. I'm gonna scoop to a Solitude anyways, so just gonna attack. Like I think the format's pretty solid. It didn't necessarily need to shake up, despite there being a few cards on the ban list that would be pretty safe unbans. It seems like they're just kind of interested in continuing the healing process here. Run the draw. We have a lot of cards that really improve this hand. Let's try it. Now that Breach's banned, Twin really has a chance to shine. We'll see. You know, I did kind of feel like Twin every once in a while someone would do something with it, but I didn't think Twin would be very good. I thought there would be some people who would be like really dedicated players, and some people who would like do okay with it, but that doesn't even seem to be the case. To be honest, if Eldrazi came best deck, isn't Twin able to shine? Maybe. We can daydream at the very least. I like to see Twin more as an I win button, fair decks with FOMO, as opposed to the blue-red wizard list. Yeah, it's just kind of tough to play that over like Flage as the I win button, you know. Wow, counterspelled the Mox Opal. Well, take that, I guess. Another slow counterspell gamer. Why not attack with Memnite? Sorry, I meant to attack with Memnite. Well, we get to Windbrisk Heights. Any predictions for the modern metagame? Well, I do think that it would be pretty cool if there was both a Mox Opal aggro deck and a different combo deck that kind of emerged to take Breach's place in the metagame. It doesn't exactly seem like that's that likely to happen. As far as combo decks go, it seems like Storm or Belcher is kind of likely to be the deck that returns. It's possible Brood-Scale is that deck, although that maybe you could get Belcher back and Brood-Scale back. That could be pretty cool. I don't think that I really want there to be a good aggro deck in Modern, like quite badly, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. All right, flip a coin to determine the outcome of the game. They won the flip. I guess we could maybe hit an Emrakul off this Windbrisk Heights. Is Yogg dead forever? I don't think that. Yeah, Goryo's could come back. There's a lot. I like like combo and Mox Opal decks seem to be the two things to be looking out for. Okay. I would love for them to invert polarity this. There is a good aggro deck. What? So yeah, do you count energy as an aggro deck or as a mid range deck? Is that what we're talking about? Because I do feel like it kind of toes the line between, you know, that is kind of what mid range is, right? Like in the middle of control and aggro. Yeah, I guess a Hollow One is the good aggro deck. Although it's just like so, it's not that popular. I tend to forget about it, I guess. But yeah, Hollow One's good. Yeah, but I tend to not think of Boros Energy as aggro for whatever that's worth. Hollow One and Boros I call aggro. I mean, Hollow One definitely is. Boros I think is a mid-range deck, but you could have a conversation about it. Well, our aggro deck is casting an Emrakul. My opponent's also not conceding. When was the last true tier 1 aggro deck? Yeah, I'm not sure. And this is why I want there to be a tier 1 aggro deck. Is that there hasn't been one for a while. Maybe Hollow One could become that. Yeah, again, I don't really consider Boros Energy to be an aggro deck, but if you do, you do, right? Domain Zoo, yeah, Domain Zoo. Although Domain Zoo's kind of like, it's kind of just tempo. I guess it depends on how many stubs you're playing. It might be kind of semantic-y. Eh? It's kind of like play big creature, hold up a counter spell, removal spell. I don't know. It's the lines are definitely a little blurry. All right, I think I want like 3 flares for their pyroclasms. What is tempo, anyways? Yeah, I mean, I wrote an whole article about this at one point, but like tempo decks are like the frog decks, the Murktide decks, right? Like decks that are like, I'm gonna play cheap efficient creatures plus counterspell plus removal, and so like you're playing a lot more interactive spells and fewer creatures. Is typically how I think about it, and I kind of think that the Zoo deck just is that. It's like counterspells, lots of removal, and like fewer creatures. But I don't know if that's a hot take or not. We just banned a deck because it killed on turn 2, turn 3 too often. A tier 1 aggro deck would have to be killed turn 3. So isn't that sort of the same thing? Of course not. It's like Underworld Breach was killing turn 2 sometimes. Okay, very occasionally turn 1. But like Breach was able to kill like through Disenchants and through Graveyard Hate on the same turn you played it. So what's so gross about Underworld Breach is we died multiple times to like them playing Breach. We would force a vigor that Breach and we would die the same turn like several times. When you compare this to like aggro decks, like if you're interacting with aggro decks on the first couple turns of the game, then typically you don't run into this problem of sorry, I just think about what I'm doing here. I think we're gonna pass to an opponent who clearly has something. Like if you're typically when you're go interaction, you're just even any interaction the first couple turns, like the games get longer and more interesting. They bolt me. It's kind of an unbelievable play. I don't know what their plan is here. Do I wait? I'm just so confused by this bolt me line, but snap bolt on turn 3, get attacking. I guess that could be the plan, yeah. Do you think one Mox Opal Brood Scale is correct or 4? When I was playing it, I was playing the 4 Opal build. You're definitely not like a super good Mox Opal deck, though. Last time they countered my Mox Opal. Running into 2 super slow counterspell gamers in a row is not the most fun. It is what it is. This one's more fun than the last match, though. Okay, worst target, I guess. You know what? Thank you, opponent, for taking your time. Take your time again next time. I'm gonna keep this. It's a pretty good hand outside of the Emrakul. Like, I'd be pretty happy to keep this as 6. My opponent's on a mold of 6. No matchup must be fun. It is kind of fun, actually, because if they surgical your Emrakuls, you die to like a single Tasha's. I guess that's not true with the Emeria's calls. It is pretty fun, though. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of just surveilling here. Or sorry, Glidecarring. It seems like my opponent likely has something. And we can still get maybe Guide plus Pride online next turn. Okay, so if I take Sentinel, I can go Opal, Sentinel, Guide, Pride. Seems pretty good. And then we can try to Collector's Cage the following turn. Can even get a counter on the Glidecar. Maybe Creativity again? Okay. They put the now banned and legacy Troll of Khazad-dûm into their hand. So the good news is they can't cast a Cascade spell next turn unless it's Bloodbraid Marauder. Land, sorcery, creature, enchantment. I guess they have Delirium. But I think we're just going to go in here and not think about it too much. I think they might be on Beseech the Mirror as their enabler. Is Grief banned in Legacy too? Because I wonder, like, would you have had to ban Troll and Grief if Reanimate were banned? Yeah, they might not be on a Woodlands angle. Obviously, they're cooking. It is, yeah. Do you think Grief would be banned if Reanimate were banned instead? Just wondering. Troll plus Grief was miserable. I mean, what if Reanimate was gone instead? All right, see if they have a Bloodbraid Marauder. That will really get me. Yeah, no Frog is banned also. Surely they don't have Bloodbraid Marauder, right? Like that would have been cast already, right? Reanimate's iconic. Yeah, I don't know if I've got the strongest opinions on like Legacy's form and identity. Now that like just these commander cards in Legacy are just so wild to me. Each opponent trying to be slower than the last. Frog would be banned anyways because of Force of Will Days, Brainstorm decks. Yeah, that's what I hear. You know, when you're Witherbloom commanding, it takes some time to figure out what your line is. Oh, they are playing Bloodbraid Marauder. See how our Sanctifier tech pays off, I suppose. So this turns Mox Opal back online. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. I think that's 3 different powers. Dang, I love this deck. I love this deck so much. Alright, Sanctifier's coming in. Cars for the 6 months had ankle surgery, hoping nothing gets worse. Good luck, good luck. Play some Balatro. Watch some Succession. Got the glide cars for this. As well, you can type exclamation point deck for the deck list. And all the decks we've been playing too. You know, I haven't seen the new Daredevil show. Esther hadn't seen the originals, so we watched the originals and she really liked them, and then we just decided to watch Severance instead. We just finished Severance. It was very good. So I think Daredevil's next on the to-do list. We also we started the new Castlevania and we really liked it, and then we decided to watch Severance instead. So we might finish the new Castlevania instead, and then watch Daredevil. Okay, Bloodstained Mire. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go kind of same thing, just Heights into Guide Pride. Just if they have turn 1 removal, like if they want to play a 2-drop, I can get this going, get an extra creature. I haven't watched Solo Leveling, no. Those kind of animes don't really appeal to me very much. Severance is good, but suffers from plot writing mistakes. Really? No spoilers in the chat. At least that wasn't my experience. At the very least, it's like it kind of seemed to me like well, Removal being dead gone, right? It seemed to me that they just haven't explained things yet. It's a bit early, I think, to call anything writing mistakes, and the show is also not over, so it's like hard to compare to Game of Thrones too. I think definitely not for everybody. No, let's not get into the plot writing mistakes because I don't want people to get spoiled in the chat. FOMO. Discard an Enduring Courage. This has been a very feverish league so far. Every opponent is just playing at like the slowest speeds ever. We play against blue-white into Izzet weirdness into Living End weirdness. Alright, so next turn we're going to go Collector's Cage, and if we brick on the cage, we can use the Opal to Windbrisk Heights. I'm never watching Severance because one Twitch chatter said they were writing mistakes. Yeah, I just don't want people to start talking about what the mistakes are and to get spoiled. But I liked Severance. I would recommend it. I think if like at the end of the first episode you're not into it, you're not gonna like the series. But it's one of those like just if you like it at the first one, you'll like it, and if not, you won't. I think Invincible is like that too. All right, Overlord. They can get back one of these Enduring Courages. How broken is going to be the new Ugin static ability? Well, it'll be really good against like decks like Black White and Dimir and Orzhov, and then not very good against other strategies. My opponent's asked, have you drawn extremely lucky here, or is the deck whack? Could Ketchamos plus Ugin be supported in one deck? Both in the same deck? I built an Abzan Ketchamos Eldrazi deck that I played off stream. It did not end up making the stream. I didn't think I liked it that much. Although it was pretty cool to Devour of Destiny. All right, another Emrakul cast. As opponent to get Omniscience into play. I'm assuming they shifting Woodland it. Yeah, I thought the Glimpse tech was better for this engine. We played that a little while ago. I don't get the phrasing is not put into play on that Hideaway. I don't get the phrasing is not put into play on the Hideaway. I'm just gonna say very strong. Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to move on. No, we saw Living in game 1. I guess they're saying that the cast trigger on the Hideaway is too strong. Now they've said God. Both games they win next turn. Unlucky. We need more players like this. Who wants to come play? Interesting. Alright, against Darkslick Shores, let's lead on an Esper Sentinel, I think. I think I'm going to wait on these Memnites because I could draw Guide of Souls. Not sure if that makes sense. I think it makes enough sense. Is Storm just the best combo deck? Storm has potential to be the best combo deck. I think, one thing is, like, to me, it seems kind of likely that Belcher will rise up. Like, Belcher's bad against Frog, but I think it's likely good against Eldrazi, Boros, Black-White, and Titan. Okay, I guess we take Collector's Cage here. I'm going to go for the Warden this turn, since I'd like to scry into another land, potentially. That is kind of another land, but it's just so bad if they have Bowmaster. I'm going to bottom it. Not the biggest deal. Is Cheerios on my list to try Opal? We lost to Cheerios earlier. I played like around 30 different Mox Opal decks, and I think of all of them. Hold on, sorry, thinking about this spot. Yeah, but I played about 30 different Mox Opal decks, and I just never got around to Cheerios, but maybe I should have. Opal seems fine with Sentinel in hand. It was definitely fine, yeah. Kind of hard to say no to that. Do you think Tomio's correct in the Dimir deck? I would play it, yeah. So they discard both of their lands to just bounce off the 3/4, which I'm pretty happy that my attack turned into a Mind Rot there. So good chance they're going to hit me with the Frog and then flip the Tomio by sacking a clue. Although they didn't attack with the Tomio, so maybe they've got different plans. Cheerios had like actual 0 changes from the deck list pre-Opal ban. Well, I've seen some people play Urza Saga. I've seen some people play Kappa Cannoneer too, which I think is kind of fun. But I'm not sure how I would build it exactly, I guess. Okay, let's go to combat. We could do a lot of different things here, but let's just start off with an attack. I don't know why they would tap out for Saram's Ransom here. Okay, and then now I've got a Mox Opal, so I could maybe activate this Collector's Cage here. Alright, so what face-up pile do I want to show my opponent? I think I'm going to show them Fatal Push Swamp. That's a pretty good pile. I'm kind of scared of the Bowmaster. Swamp. Right, they took Kaito Bowmaster, which I think it's pretty close. What's your Collector's Cage deck weak against? It's weak to Wrath Disguise for sure. So I could play 2 Ocelots and get a ton of tokens, but that's kind of bad against this Tomio they have. So let's go ahead and go for a good Collector's Cage. All right, pretty good. So put a counter on the Esper Sentinel. We'll have 1, 2, 3. Cast that. Return. Oh, right. And then we get to copy the Angels, too. Angels in the instep. Deck's bad against Titan, too. Might just not sideboard. I think it's run it back against Dimir. 100% mid-mist in paper, maybe. Maybe not at like a GP, I'd probably be pretty locked in. At FNM, I'm missing it for sure. Okay, so we can go... Obviously a lot of ways to sequence this. Probably go Guide into Ornithopter, Memnite, Opal, Sentinel. Although let's see, I guess, how they... Oh, that's a good Thoughtseize. I'm assuming they take the Opal. Took the Guide, okay. I think I'm happy with this. Maybe I should have played the Emeria's Call because of another Thoughtseize, although if they Thoughtseize me again next turn, I'm pretty happy. Let's go and bottom the Ocelot Pride. They might have a Bowmaster if they let me keep the Sentinel here. Sorry, I should have activated my Glidecar. Could have been a 3-4 here. I'm going to leave it back to block the Bowmaster now. When is the Spicy Tarkir video coming out? It comes out when it comes out. You know, I'm a one-man show over here. I got a lot of irons in the fire. But I'm glad people are excited for it. Sentinel looks very silly in the wake of Bowmaster on multiple fronts. Yeah. It's kind of nice that Bowmaster's been seeing less play, though. Don't want to block here because of a second Bowmaster. All right, that worked. I guess it worked out that we didn't activate the Glidecar because they thought it was a blank piece of cardboard. Now, I'm going to play around another Bowmaster by not cracking this yet. All right, Graveyard and Island. Take 2. Can I formally request to be co-commentary? Yeah, the co-commentary meme is a pretty old one, but it's a pretty good one. I guess for those who aren't in the know, there was someone who emailed me, and obviously it's just a silly thing that happened, but they emailed me and they're like, Spike, I would like to be a permanent co-commentator on the channel. They were like, I would like to just come in and just also be a permanent feature of the stream. And they like cold DM'd me. I had no idea who they were. I still don't know who they were, but it was just very funny to me. So I would just like to come and be a permanent co-commentator on your stream. Let me know what you think. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, I guess. Did I say yes? We went a different direction. What if it was LSV? I mean, I'm not that interested in doing, even if it was LSV, you know. But for someone, I just had no idea who they were. It was very funny. I would say yes to read. I would say yes to read for sure. I don't know if there's anybody else besides Reed that would just be like an automatic yes. Yeah, we just had creative differences. So you can make this a 4-5. Keep another Ajani, I guess. They have a Fatal Push. We can go to game 3. I would say yes to LeBron. I'd say yes to Bronny, too. Yeah, Kendrick. Esther. Well, Esther couldn't be a permanent co-commentator because we would be on live stream fails every day with her antics. Oh, we wouldn't last a week with Esther. We would be banned over and over and over again.
Say that again.
We would be banned over and over and over again. There's no way your filter would be totally totally uncontainable. Well, okay, no attacks.
If you can't love me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
That's a good point. Maybe we can get our opponent to discard cards here. Might just not play the Ajani into the open mana. Let's see what happens here. Okay. So I want to leave the cat available to block. Might want to block with the Glidecar also. Probably don't want to draw that. What if Reed only lets you build variations of John? I could make it work for like a month probably. And then we could reassess our strategy. These kind of games with this deck are my favorite, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm going to put the Glidecar in front of this frog, so if my opponent wants to save it, or I guess kill my Glidecar, they have to discard their whole hand. Oh, sorry, it only gets flying if you do the 3 creature thing. I always forget that. Okay, taking 2. Taking 3. Is there an early access thing I'm participating in? So there's an early access event on, let's get a 4-1 prediction. There's an early access event on Friday. Alright, gonna mulligan this, I think. It's kind of close, okay, because we could go Glidecar, Scry, Ornithopter, Opal, Warden, Scry. Okay, this is actually a pretty good 5-card hand. Let's mulligan. I think if the second Emrakul was like effectively any other card we could keep. Ooh, this could be the turn 2. We have to draw a land for it to be a turn 2 though. So I'm gonna click the keep button. I've had the option a couple of times to cast turn 2 Emrakul or the ability, but then like they always have the removal spell, so I haven't actually done it in this deck, I think. So I think if I see Emrakul underneath the Windbrisk Heights, I'll play all my zeros. Yeah, Mox does it too. And then if that isn't the case, then we'll just play Guide and do all the triggers. I think I'll put back the Sentinel. Alright, we're in. We have 15 lands, although 3 of them are heights, but we also have 4 Mox Opals that are legal, that are alive here, so if you don't count the heights, we have an impossible number to know. So no, wait, hold on. Are we 16? We were 16, right? Yeah, 16. So we have 17 outs. Oh no way. Maybe I should have. I should have played the canyon after attacking. No. Yeah, maybe we should have attacked first. Although, my opponent needs 2 removal spells here. We only play the 0 jobs because we did Emrakul. Yeah. Just the upside of like doing this on turn 2. It's honestly just kind of a selfish achievement. I want to unlock cast Emrakul on turn 2 with this deck. I've been able to do it a few times, and then every time my opponent has the turn 1 removal spell, including this time. But I just kind of selfishly want to get it done at some point. So up against Mardu Energy, it seems. I guess it could just be Boros. It's probably just Boros, actually. So I want some Sanctifiers for their Phlages, I think. Let's go down in Emrakul and Opal Glidecar. Maybe I need to be hitting Emrakuls. Let's try this. Thanks, Nurse, for the 2 months. Do you have any way to discard drawn enemies? No. One thing you can do is you can play Cavalier of Gales over Emrakul. and play Flare of Force of Virtue, and you can pitch those. But if you play any way to discard Emrakul, like whatever card that is going to be pretty low quality. So I think it is something to look out for. Higher quality cards that would let you do that, but at the moment I don't think it really exists in high quality form. We're gonna keep this one. The London Mulligan also helps a lot too. And you have the Scry, so sometimes like either put it on top when you're hideawaying or not if you're not. Sorry, not Cavalier of Gales. Whatever the white Craterhoof Behemoth is. I have several times I think called that card Cavalier of Gales, but that seems to not be the name of the card. Okay, so how are we wanting to sequence this? I think I want to go Glidecar, Mox Opal, Ornithopter, then Warden. So we can try to scry towards a good card next turn. I don't think a third Guide of Souls is something we want. Yeah, Moonshaker Cavalry. Thank you. Progenitus would work too, or do we want to be able to cast it theoretically? Well, it's better to cast Moonshaker Cavalry. Okay, so they Galvanic Discharge, they spend no energy because they're going to go Wrath the Skies, so we're getting 2 for forward. Method of the 2 months, thank you, welcome back. 2 for forward. And they get 2 energy left. Pretty good. Yeah, but Moonshaker just wins the turn you play it, you know. Progenitus kind of does nothing, funny enough. 1 Ocelot Pride, 2 Ocelot Pride. Well, we got a lot of 1-2s against their 1-1s. That's also kind of funny. There's a Marsh Flats. Good top deck. I think I want to scry here. Well, no, then they get an insert. Never mind. For some reason, I thought this would still be untapped. Okay, 2 cards in their hand. They surveil a Marsh Flats to the graveyard. 3 cards after they draw. Thoughtseize me. I'm going to try 12 Asthma Mod with the new Nature's Rhythm. I don't think so, but I think that card could be better than Finale. It's kind of interesting that, like, it is just kind of interesting in general. Okay, so I guess this Cage in the graveyard isn't doing a lot for me now. Or Cage under the Heights, rather. Okay, bottom that. Ocelot not belong here. We have 4 Ocelot Pride in the stack, of course. We copied some angel tokens with it earlier. Okay, Johnny's not that scary unless they have Kitty's Blessing. 9. Looks like they won't have it if they don't have another permanent here. But we can block a cat, and then they copy, then we kill the... Oh, they get the Kitty's Blessing. Hold on. 5. Kill this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 8, 9, 10. Okay, it is scary. Still have to block, because otherwise they get the double Ocelot thing. Pretty punished for scrying. Well, we get to kill this if they make a token... Or if they plus the Ajani, then they don't have Kitty's Blessing. But we have a harder time killing it. Okay, the last card is just a land. Fun game. Nice to be able to possibly win despite my opponent having that, like, Wrath of the Skies to kill 4 permanents on turn 2. And then Ajani, as usual, is the best possible top deck. So let me go ahead and grave or bottom that. Then, all right, probably better to like have 2 good blockers for their stuff next turn and spread out the love a little bit. Warden doesn't fly. Well, it will fly if I attack and put counters on it with Guide of Souls, right? So they surveil again. They immediately keep a card on top. Probably not a Flage. Seasoned Pyromancer, pretty good. Okay, just another Stony. Well, can keep tapping these to Warden. They say GG's. Wow, cool. Fun to beat the Rathus guys. Molten Rain. Think they're conceding. Oh, no, I guess not. There's so much lag. I keep thinking they're conceding, but they keep not conceding. Cool. All right. 4-1 after losing to... Wait. Okay. The lag is just very bad. After losing a very long match to Blue-White Control round 1. GG's to us. I'll be back tomorrow playing some Kethis, I think. I'm also going to probably mess with Jeskai Ascendancy and Brood-Scale. I'm going to try to have all 3 available tomorrow and see if we can get to all of them, but we'll try to take our time because this wasn't the most exciting BNR. But also,